everyone, today's lesson is lesson 81, Reducing Fractions Part 1. So we know that when we multiply a fraction by a term that equals 1, we can get a larger fraction that is equal to it. Now, I can also make the terms of a fraction smaller by dividing a fraction named for 1. For example, if I want to change 6/8 to a smaller fraction, I can do that by dividing both the numerator and denominator by 2. So it would look like this. I would do 6 divided by 2 and 8 divided by 2. So 2 over 2 is going to be my fraction that equals 1. See how that equals 1? Okay. So we do 6 divided by 2 equals 3, and 8 divided by 2 equals 4. So 3/4 is the same as 6/8, and we call this reducing a fraction. When we reduce a fraction, we're trying to get it to the smallest terms, so the smallest fraction term. Okay. And if I wanted to show this with a picture, I would see that 6/8 would look like this. So this would be 6/8, and then 3/4 would look like this. So you can see that 6/8 and 3/4 are equal to each other. It's the same amount. The only difference is 3/4 is broken into smaller pieces. Okay. Now, not all fractions can be reduced. Only fractions whose terms can be divided by the same number can be reduced. So this asks which of these fractions cannot be reduced. So for A, we have 2/6. So we have 2 and 6, and I need to think, are there any numbers I can divide both of the top and bottom by? Well, since they're both even numbers, I can divide both these numbers by 2. So that means that this can be reduced. So it can't be that one. What about 3/6? Well, I can divide both the top and the bottom by 3. So that means that this one can be reduced. Well, what about 4/6? Well, 4/6, they're both even numbers, so I can divide both these numbers by 2. So that means that one can be reduced. What about 5/6? Well, there's no number I can divide both the top and the bottom by. Okay, so because 5 can only be divided by 5 or 1, and 6 can only be can't be divided by 5. So that means that 5/6 cannot be reduced. All right. This problem says add 1/8 plus 5/8 and then reduce the answer. So 1/8 plus 5/8 equals 6/8. Okay. So now I want to take 6/8 and reduce it to the smallest term. So since 6 and 8 are both even, I can divide both these numbers by 2. Okay. So 6 divided by 2 is 3, and 8 divided by 2 is 4. Now notice, I always use the same number on top and bottom because this has to equal 1. Okay. All right, so 3/4 is the smallest term. All right, for this next problem, it says, Caroline has a box of beads that are all the same size and shape but are different colors. The box has 4 red beads, 6 yellow beads, and 20 blue beads. Without looking, Caroline chooses 1 bead from the box. What are all the possible outcomes? So, possible outcomes is what could she pull? Well, she could pull a red bead. She could pull a yellow bead. And finally, she could pull a blue bead. All right. And then part B says, what is the probability that the bead Caroline chose was blue? So to figure that out, I first need to figure out how many beads I have. So I need to do 20 plus 6 plus 4. Well, 20 plus 6 plus 4 is 30. So I have 30 beads total, and my fraction is going to be 20 blue beads, so 20 beads over 30. So I don't like leaving fractions like this. I always want to reduce if I can. So I know I can divide both 20 and 30 by 10. 20 divided by 10 is 2, and 30 divided by 10 is 3. So the probability that the bead chosen is blue is 2/3. Okay, so after this point, when you see a fraction, you always want to reduce. Okay, always reduce your fractions, unless it tells you not to. Okay, all right, let's subtract 5 and 5/6 minus 2 and 1/6. So, and then reduce the answer. So we have 5 and 5/6 minus 2 and 1/6. 5/6 minus 1/6 is 4/6, and 5 minus 2 is 3. So I can't reduce the whole number, so the whole number is going to stay the same, but I can reduce the fraction. So I can divide both the 4 and the 6 by 2. So 4 divided by 2 is 2, and 6 divided by 2 is 3. So my answer is going to be 3 and 2/3. Okay. All right, and that's it for this lesson. Good luck on your homework.